Hi everyone, welcome again to MJS Coaching Football. Sorry I took a week off, but I'm back and now we're going to continue in our Cover 10 or 3-match series. And today we're going to learn how we, in our version of 3-match we call Cover 10, how we cover what we call the Haas concept. Simply, number one does the one-step stop, number two runs that vertical seam, right? So today, Cover 10 3-match versus a 2x2. So this way I can show you how we would cover Haas on both the match as well as the zone side. Okay, and so that takes care of that. So then what I'll do first is I'll go through the assignments for both the match side and the zone side. And then what I'll do over here versus what we call an 11 gun Dallas pistol 2x2. So non-subscribers, you want to know why we call it that? Push the button and you get access to everything. Okay, and then I'll bring it to life for you and show you the coaching points and techniques that we teach our players to better cover the Haas concept on both the match as well as the zone side and the technical differences between the two. Okay, so first up on the match side, dime. So first of all, which is the match side, right? For us, if you remember, easy teaching equals easy learning. We determine the match side. Just the base rule is the pass strength. So if pass strength is Liz, then this is the match side. So obviously the zone side's over here. So the D, the dime, is going to match up number two, except in the Haas concept, he's going to get a lightning call, which tells him he's going to take number one on the stop. Okay, so he has number two unless he gets lightning, then he picks up number one, who technically becomes the new number two. So now the field corner would typically have number one, right, vertical or out, but since one runs just a one-step stop, he makes a lightning call, and now he'll move in and he'll take number two's seam, right? He'll match the vertical of number two. And then the free safety starts off on the match side, but then he's going to spin to the middle with making the carry call pre-snap, and he'll end up carrying the vertical seam of number two, but he's going to have some help. As you will see, it's going to be an inside-outside bracket on the number two zone side. So on the zone side, our rover is still going to be the read rush guy. Remember, the beautiful thing about 3-match, or what we call Cover 10, is it's a 4-man pass rush built into the coverage. The Mike is going to be the hook curl, and he'll end up taking the running back alone, and you'll see why. The boundary corner, deep third, cluing number two, he will be the outside bracket on that seam of number two. And as we always do, we show our quarterbacks, the quarterbacks we play, I should say, one picture, too high look each time, and then we rotate, spin on the snap. Right? It's not that we're trying to affect the coach in the press box or the guy calling a play in the sideline. We're trying to affect that quarterback, whether he's 18, 19, 22, 23 years old. That's who we're trying to affect. Okay? And then our whip over here is going to be the screw down curl flat. And what he ends up taking is the number one stop. So we'll show you how we coach that up as well. Okay? So now it's time to bring this to life. I'm going to start off by drawing the Haas concept on both sides in green, so it's hopefully easier to see. So number one literally runs that one-step stop. Okay, so we play a school called UMass Dartmouth. They love this concept. And because they run lots of what we call pirate, which is 4 verticals right down the field, they get you thinking that because they got guys who can run. They got the best quarterback in the conference. Then they hit you with this. Okay, and then quite often, one-step stops wide open because your guys are playing off, right? And then number two is running that seam route. So now over here, one-step stop. Number two, running that seam route, right? So there's the Haas concept. So now how do you defend it, right? The million-dollar question. So we're going to start off on the match side. Starts off with, first of all, all of our pass coverage defenders read their portion of the surface. So for us, that means offensive line. And in the 3-4, they have a clear view to the uncovered lineman. In this case, in our base front, it's the guard. So all of these guys end up reading the guard, their portion of the surface. So we say surface to 1. Okay? I'll just draw it. They gave the hi-hat. Right? Pass, run, direction. Perfect. So he sees he's got pass. He doesn't pedal. He walks, gets his eyes to 1. He sees it's a stop route. Lightning to alert the dime. So now on that stop route, his eyes go to 2. And now he caps the vertical route of number 2. That's his. Okay? He's in the best position to play it, so he caps it. Now the dime reading the same thing, hearing the lightning, that's his cue to go undercut number 1. So when he hears lightning, he's anticipating that 1's coming in. So when he scans his eyes and sees that number 1's just sitting there, now he's got to go meet him. Don't sit, go to 1 is what we teach him. Okay? So the match side, as usual, the easiest side to cover. I'm going to come back to the linebackers last. Okay? So now over here, pre-snap, the free safety said carry, carry, carry. We also use hand signals. So the video, of which there's no sound, I never let our players say, well, I said it. Well, there's no way to confirm that. So I'm not going to show you the hand signals that we would use, but he says it and signals it, and the whip's got to confirm it back with the same thing, with the same hand signal, and then he's got to communicate it to the boundary. Okay, and I never ever let a rep go by in practice, certainly not the game, without them using the hand signals and saying it. And each time they don't, then everybody does some up downs, and then next group comes in, you'll lose a rep. Okay, you got to have some kind of a consequence to get things across. Make sure your guys are accountable. Okay, don't beat them to death with it, obviously, but gets the point across. Because even if it's 2 or 3 up downs, they don't want to do that. Number 1 and number 2, they don't want to lose a rep. Nobody wants to lose a rep, and that's all we're looking to do. Okay, so he makes the carry call. Roger, Roger, Roger. Okay, so the safety's on the snap will spin. As he's stepping, first thing he's going to do is make sure it's a pass. I don't rotate him here, okay, willy-nilly if it's a run, because we might need him in support over here. So he reads that it's pass. Now he gets there. He gets his eyes to number 2. Okay, and what ends up happening is he's going to be the inside portion of the bracket to cover this vertical, because you only got 1 vertical threat. Okay, so now I'm going to come back. I'll come back to the whip. Now I'm going to come over, I should say, to the boundary corner, right? He's reading the same, his side of the surface. He's got a hi-hat read. He's cluing 2. 2 is vertical. He's got his eyes on 1 to see if he has 2 verticals in his third, and he knows he's got help from the safety if there is 2 verticals. So he can be heavier on number 1. He sees he has a stop. So now he works his way here. So see, there's the outside and the inside bracket on this vertical. This pass should not be completed. And obviously, if it breaks to a post, safety takes it. If it breaks to a corner, the boundary takes it. But that should be a non-factor. Okay? Everybody got that? So it's 1-on-1 here on the match side. It's bracketed over here on the zone side. So now we'll get to the screw down safety, the curl flat defender. In this case, it's the whip. On the snap, he's going to screw down. Well, first thing, he's got a vertical coming at him, right? So we always say, if you can reroute 2, please do. Well, we also know that the tight end's not going to let him. So it's kind of unrealistic that you're going to get that. So I'm not going to overcoach that portion of it. But what we teach him is, as he comes down, and 2 is vertical, then he's obviously not a threat to either the curl or the flat. So as he's coming down, he's got to get his eyes to number 1. Is he the curl threat or is he the flat threat? Well, he's going to see him just sitting there, right? So he is going to be taught to go downhill at an angle, okay? I could do a better angle than that. At an angle in front of the stop number 1 receiver. So therefore, he cannot cut back to the inside on him. He's got to force him to the sideline, use the sideline as an extra defender. And also, if the ball's late, he might actually get a chance to pick it. Okay, it's not realistic, but that's the angle we take so we avoid being cut back on. And we bring him down under control. If he catches it, be balanced. We say shimmy down, force him to the sideline, make a good, secure tackle. Because these guys are all rushing the passer. If he's lucky, he might have one person to help him on the inside, so let's use the sideline in that instant. That's why. Okay? So that's how we handle that. That's how he ends up number 1 stop, trying to undercut that. That's the angle. Now I'm going to come down to our read rush defender. Most of the time, not always, but most of the time, we tell the defensive end on the zone side on pass, rush the B gap. So that's what he will do. And what we mean by read rush, the Rover has 2 options. Beat the tackle with speed. If not, rip underneath. So that's the first option. Okay? If the tackle is good at vertical setting and he's ready for you, then we tell him rip underneath. We need to get in the face of the quarterback. Rip underneath. I don't want you getting run up the field, wasting you out there. Rip underneath. Because usually the Haas concept is a 3-step concept. Okay, the Haas concept is a 3-step concept. There we go. Okay? So then now we get to the Mike and the backer, our 2 inside linebackers. Okay? First of all, he's going to match 3. The running back is number 3 on both sides. We do that on purpose, right? If the running back comes to the match side, he's matched by the backer. If the running back goes to the same match side, then the hook curl defender can now move to spy the QB. I'm not going to run these 2 guys out here to cover stop, and now there's nobody here in the middle if the quarterback brings the ball down and runs it. Right? Even though it's a 4-man rush, it's nice to have a spy whenever you can, and we let the offensive scheme tell us when that's necessary. All right? So if the running back is in protection, he will key rush like we always do in our match quarters. Again, non-subscribers, you have to push that button. So then we have the potential to make it a 5-man rush. Excuse me. If he's in the pattern, then he will match up with number 3. And then if he goes this way, just flip it. Now the Mike is key rushing or the Mike is matching the pattern and he becomes the spy. Okay, so there's not as big variation in the teaching or coaching points for our inside linebackers between our match quarters, grade 4, grade 3, grade 2, right, all those variations, or our cover tan 3 match, and that's on purpose. Because to us, the inside linebackers, in this case the 3-4, they have more to do than any other position. They're instrumental in setting the front. They're instrumental in defending the run. They're instrumental in defending the pass. They're instrumental in the blitz packages. They're instrumental in the whole kit and caboodle. So if we can simplify one of their assignments, we choose to do it in the pass coverage portion. So as I said at the beginning, to my subscribers, thank you for watching the channel. I do really appreciate it. And to non-subscribers, I really hope I've teased you or enticed you into pushing that button.